Altman Podcast 7, and we're going to be talking with Forrest, who's prepping for her first live comedy performance.
Yes,
I feel like
I'm super
I want to
excited.
actually try to do it, though. Like,
Okay.
I feel like I want to actually try to be like...
Do you want to stand in front of the mic?
What's the word I'm looking for?
You want to
Dress
have
rehearsal.
Stage presence?
Dress rehearsal.
I can stare at you like this with my White Claw in my hand and be like, let's stare you down.
Yeah, I just gotta get my brain in the right zone because it's really weird to do... Well, first of all, dress rehearsals are completely normal for any production, so that's not weird.
Of course.
I think what's more weird is being like, okay, dress rehearsal, everyone, but there's only one person in the room.
Well, imagine the audience that's attached to this camera, right?
Right.
Just think about all the tens of people who are going to see you.
The only thing is they can't laugh, so...
They can laugh. They laugh all the time.
They laugh silently.
Right? I'm so
themselves.
funny that they
On the
forget
other
to laugh.
side. I believe that. And then they're writing, "Don't kill yourself."
My Twitter audience, yeah. I'm almost to 1,300 Twitter followers.
That's actually pretty good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's
Twitter.
not bad.
Twitter's been fun because Twitter is something that it's writing, but then it's condensed writing, and most of it is funny.
Okay.
And it's fun to interact with other people.
Okay.
And
yeah.
there's actually a big writing community on there,
Okay.
getting ideas or kind of giving each other critiques or pushing each other's work. It's kind of fun.
It sounds like you're really working the social media bracket right now.
I am. Yeah, my other one that is starting to grow is TikTok. I just hit 350 on TikTok.
Oh, cool.
Which isn't a lot, but it's a lot for me, especially having just started it a month ago.
Yeah, I wonder how many...
And I'm not a cute
those
girl,
are.
so I don't get free followers like they do.
I don't think that's how that works.
That is definitely how that works.
I don't think so, because I
So-
don't think I had that many followers when I had it.
So here's the
Will
difference.
you teach me how to do those things?
Yeah. So TikTok is interesting because it's all about hashtags, right?
Oh, is it?
And it is. So you use the hashtag and you follow people in your platform so that the algorithm knows this is the content you're creating and this is the space we're going to put you in. So here's the difference between me. So I'm doing a lot of book talk. I'm talking about books in my videos. I'm doing poetry, stuff like that. So the book talk I think has 67 billion views.
Okay.
Okay. So since TikTok started, book talk has gotten that many billions of views.
Okay.
You've got hashtags that are hot, thought, ones that attractive women use to push out their OnlyFans content.
Okay, so
Right, or their
hashtags wrong.
or their Instagram.
Okay.
And when you use those, you have a much larger audience to gain from. Because where mine only has 67 billion views, or 61 billion, something like that, theirs has over 300 billion views.
Okay.
So you're just getting more traffic to your thing, and more people are following you.
Right, yeah, I do hashtags like pink, purple, blue,
See, so
eyes open.
so it's very
Eyes closed.
so every time you put a hashtag into TikTok,
I hate hashtags. I hate them so much. I hate doing
I
them.
know.
I don't want to do them at all.
I know, and don't
I just want to post and be followed.
don't overdo them, but you want to you need to put some out there so that because people are on different hashtags, right, looking for content, and if you're doing these hashtags that nobody looks for,
People
then
actually look for content.
so
They don't just let it happen to them.
they do let it happen to them, but it's all algorithm based, right? So if they
So
watch.
They do let it happen to them. Go ahead, sorry.
So for me, right,
Mhm.
I do a lot of book talk and a lot of poetry stuff and comedy.
Mhm.
So the algorithm pushes those out to me. Now, how does the algorithm know that the video is that content? Before you have a following or before certain people follow you, it's all about what you put in the video, the hashtags,
Okay.
and also what you're following. Because most people put out content similar to what they follow themselves.
Okay.
So like this, right? I do hashtag, and these are all the hashtags that are kind of going right now. Oscars at home is a new hashtag, and it's already got 6.1 billion. Right?
Mhm.
So you can look up anything though. You can do. So
Well,
let's
I
put
get
in
that.
book,
I've done that.
and then you can. So this is what's important though. You see how many views,
Mhm.
which tells you which hashtags you should be using.
Mhm. Okay.
And 5 to 6 hashtags is the optimum. After that, the algorithm starts to take your hashtags less seriously.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what about less than that? What if you just do 1 to 3?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. What about just 1?
Totally fine.
Okay. I probably do just 1. Hashtag cute. Hashtag me. Hashtag shirt on. Hashtag shirt off. Just kidding.
And see, that's the so if you're gonna do a certain type of content to get a certain type of audience, go on the computer or on whatever and find out what's trending now, and then also look at total numbers. And I would say if you're doing just one TikTok hashtag, that's fine, but you are limiting the spaces that your video is going to be seen in.
Okay. I see. Understand.
Yep.
So, but when I say, like, teach me how to use these things, I mean more like, how are people making TikTok dance videos? How do they do that? Because I can't figure out how to be able to hear the music in my...
At this point, like the intelligent man that I am, I told Forrest and taught her how to use TikTok properly.
Oi, Elon Musk, I know you're listening to me because I'm adorable. So, where's that brain chip where I can just take the thought out of my head and make it a tangible item? Because I need that now.
Have you seen the series Upload?
Yes, I have. Have you seen Made for Love?
No, I haven't.
Okay, 2 of the most terrifying things ever. But here's the thing that I get so annoyed with the world about. They're all like, oh, brain chips and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, even if Elon Musk, okay, that I feel, oh, hold on. Back that up.
Back it up.
Elon Musk sucks.
Whoa.
He's not a very intelligent person.
Whoa.
It is evident in that he's trying to create brain chips. So it becomes it becomes very clear that he's a businessman and not a scientist when he's presenting ideas of brain chips to help you interface with your telephone. And here's why I say that.
Okay.
Because we have solar flares that occur on a constant.
Sure.
We are always just barely missing that solar flare. It's hit the planet before, and it has made technology explode, and that's when everything was plugged into each other. Now, if a solar flare is to hit the planet while you have a brain chip in your head, what's going to happen to you?
Okay, so here's my question to you. When is the last time a solar flare hit and fried some of our microchips?
About 90 to 100 years ago.
Okay, there we go. So,
no,
the odds of it happening...
So, the odds of it happening soon or within the near future is much higher than none because we've already lapsed that time. That's why we come into such close calls.
No. That's not how it works. The odds of it happening are still the same as time moves on. There's no guarantee that it's going to happen again.
No, there's absolutely a guarantee that it will happen again. The question is when. These flares are happening constantly.
I understand that they're happening constantly. However, a flare being strong enough and getting close enough to us...
It is, all the time. So, like, recently, it was just, like, maybe a week or 2 ago, there was a flare that was strong enough to knock out all the technology that we have, but it was, like, say this is the planet, and the flare is, like, coming across, rather than going... It was, like... Like that.
Okay, so...
It wasn't, like... It was, like...
Went around the planet.
Round. See what I'm saying? Close call there.
Hear me out. We get Faraday cage helmets.
Jesus H. Christ. And we make that fashionable.
Yes.
Start with the celebrities.
But we only have to wear them on flare days. And it's a special holiday. Kids get off school for flare day.
And the flare day can happen any day. It's just we gotta listen to the scientists when they're like, hey, the sun is acting up, tomorrow's flare day, just in case.
That's right. It's like a snow day. That's flare day. And you can make it fun, too. You can have everybody wear flare. You know, you can wear flare along with flare day.
Oh, good God. And if you have emergency flares, that's even better because they're like sparklers.
Yes, they're sparklers that last for hours. Have you ever lit one of those things?
Yes, they last forever.
It is so cool. It is so neat.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
I used one to start a bonfire once.
Oh.
And, oh my gosh, it was so cool because you could just, like, run it along different pieces of the, around the outside of the fire.
Yeah.
And just start catching different pieces on fire.
Naturally, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was great.
Supposed to be sitting on concrete.
Yeah. No, it was hot.
I was watching My Name is Earl, and he ends up finding one of those in the back of the trunk and then lights it and is stuck in the trunk with it. You know that mother effer died. Straight up killed himself with the CO2. But it was really funny. So, I definitely want to make more TikToks. I don't necessarily know how.
Well, I just told you how.
I know, and it's because of the whole, like, music thing needing 2 different devices, and I'll figure it out, I guess.
You don't need 2 different devices, though. You can...
I, once again, took on the heavy mantle of being a teacher and instructor and taught Forrest the proper TikTok ways so that she too can be an amazing person on TikTok.
There you go.
You're so proud of yourself in the worst ways.
What do you mean? So proud of myself in the worst ways. I just showed you how to do it.
I know, and I forget that about dudes. See, when you ask a woman to teach you something, they're like, sure, let's set up a time.
Why would
But
I do that
like,
when
wait,
it took
would
me
you teach
20
me
seconds?
To do this to a dude, they're immediately like, yeah, let's start. And it's like, oh, wait, my mental state, it's not there yet. I don't want to pay attention.
What do you mean your mental state? What, you need a mental state to learn how to do a TikTok video?
Yes, I have to put myself in the right frame of mind. This is why I got all C's this quarter. It was the worst.
Well, at least you didn't fail.
No, I won't ever fail. But also the calendar was absolutely outrageous, and I broke it down to a mathematical algorithm on how they fucked up. So they could eat a dick, okay? Them motherfucking cunts and all their shit, I don't want it.
So,
Sorry, I'm really aggressive about my teachers right now. They're incompetent.
368
I should have told you to stop recording.
followers. Oh, nobody cares.
Yeah, but you put
5,300 video views, 2,100. This one I'm
That's
kind
actually
of
really
proud of.
Krav Maga is a really nice way of saying I know 100 different ways to pull off a nutsack. Krav Maga is a really nice.
I feel like it'd be funny to say in 100 different ways to pants you.
Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry. That's
That's-
just where my brain went.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I'm glad that I've got some videos that are finally going into the thousands.
No, that's great. I have one video that went to 3,100 viewers. 3.1K.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was me running up the Capitol steps topless for for feminism.
And
you don't see my boobs.
See,
It's from the back only.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Such a double
I'm running up the
standard.
Capitol steps going, feminism!
And you know
Free
what?
the new!
If I did the same thing, I'd get 20 views.
I feel like if you ran up the
Everyone would
Capitol
skip.
steps with your dick out yelling, for Romney! You would actually get a lot of views.
For Romney.
Yeah.
It's a blast from the past.
It is. You should have done it. You
I
should have
should-
done it when
should
it
have done
happened. Yeah.
I'm not much of a...
Especially if you're like running with your pants at your ankles and then you fall over at the end and you're like, ah! I think I got a little pebbles in it.
See, I am not...
Road burn.
That's so not my style.
Scraped my dick on the asphalt.
No, I am
Get
not...
a Band-Aid.
I am so not a hang my dick out kind of guy.
It's a bit. You don't show them it.
I
You
it's-
do the cuts. It's like
Nope, it's too much.
dicks out for Romney. You see the zip and the pants go down, then you see them drop at the ankles, and now you see from the back you running, and then you see you trip and fall, and then you're like, ow! I think I scraped it a little. Someone you guys knows what.
Nope, I am not.
No one ever sees your dick. No one ever even sees your butt.
I know, but I am so not the kind of guy who like does silly stuff on the internet.
It's picking out a character. You're a person that's playing another person, pretending to be a person that's showing their dick.
But see, all my social media is author Altman. Like, I'm setting an image for myself with everything I do.
Sure.
Sure.
But authors can take
As she
on their
rolls
own
her
characters too.
Sure, which is why I have the profile picture I do of myself covered in social media stickers.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to, just go ahead and find a time machine, hop on in it, take a trip to 10 years back, go ahead and pop your dick out and say for Ferrandi, fall down the Capitol steps, I guarantee you 3,000 hits.
Not gonna do it, but
I mean, obviously it's going to be really hard to find a time machine, so...
no, finding a time machine's easy. You just step into the hole in Oregon, that little place in Oregon where like gravity doesn't work, and it's that little Bermuda Triangle in Oregon.
You're talking about the place that has got all the optical illusions where you think you're standing on the side of the wall, but you're not standing on the side of the wall?
No. This is
Okay.
so have you ever seen? Oh my gosh, the cartoon with the boy and the girl, and they like go stay with their grandpa at his cabin.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I can't stand that one. I can't stand the voice of the sister. It's Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Gravity Falls was actually based on a real place.
Oh, okay.
And this is the real place. It's in Oregon, and if you've never gone there, it's really fun to go. There are places where if you bring a magnet, the magnet will be polarized opposite of what it usually is.
Okay.
It's the coolest thing. It's so
That is
weird.
Interesting.
It's really interesting.
I want to go do magic there.
Pick a card, any card.
Oh, that kind of magic. Yeah, I want to do that magic.
That magic. What magic are you talking about?
Nothing. None. The kind where you pick a card.
Oh my gosh.
Where I bring a hat and rabbits, but not the ones I kill. I'm just kidding. That's so fucked. Obviously, I'm watching too much Sabrina, which was like 3 years ago.
Clearly.
I'm way low. Yeah, I'm way late on the update.
Yeah. The other thing is if you bring a compass, instead of pointing north, it'll point south.
Okay. Interesting. Many things to wonder about that place. I do want to go there and do magic.
Do it.
I'm sure it would work if these things are true.
I know what you're talking about now. You're talking about witchy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do witchy stuff. Can I have a lock of your hair, Trevor? No. This is why Author Altman shaves his head. So that women can't get a hold of his hair and put hexes on him.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's how it works, right?
Yeah, but you still got a whole bunch of hair on your face.
Yeah, good luck trying to get some of this stubble.
Okay.
It's 3 days stubble. It's not like I have a beard.
Okay. I believe you.
In my mind, I'm like, how would she get some of my stubble? How would you get some of my hair?
Well, actually, a little, we're losing follicles off of our body everywhere we go on a constant basis.
Sure, but it's not
In
like
fact,
you can
there's probably
pick some up.
stuck to the bottom of my sock right now, to be honest with you. I know, gross, right? But
Ew.
it's the truth. It's the truth. I saw it on CSI.
See, this is why I'm smooth.
Ew.
Ew.
Ew. Nobody wants a smooth person.
By smooth, I mean stubble.
Talking smooth talkers.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep bringing up movies now. Have you ever seen Happy? The one where there's a
Netflix? When
Yes.
You see someone's imaginary friend?
Yes, his
I
daughter's
haven't,
imaginary friend.
But I'm familiar with it.
It is so worth your time. It's very Pulp Fiction-y,
Okay.
if you like Pulp Fiction, with a lot of humor.
Okay.
But the bad guy is named Smooth. He's Mr. Smooth, or Smoothie.
Interesting. Okay.
And you don't find out why he's named that until the end of the first season.
Because he has no ball hair?
No, even better. He has no genitals.
Oh, he's a Ken doll.
Yes, he is a Ken doll.
Fascinating.
It's pretty stellar.
But it's an imaginary friend.
No, he's a real guy. He's a real person. He was captured by the mafia, and they did this to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just don't think into it too much.
No, don't. Not at all.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
I'll put it this way. He captures the main good guy, and he wants to make him Mr. Smooth too. And how does he plan on doing this? He has a giant polisher. You know, like one of those giant rotating things that polish cars? Yeah.
Sounds awful.
It's so funny. It's well worth your time.
Okay, I'll consider it. My parents watched it.
What
They liked it.
Yeah, they liked it?
Yeah.
See? Now you've got 3 people who all say it's good.
Ugh.
It's so funny.
Most people are. They don't like to be told what to do.
I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying you should if you want humor in your life.
Okay. Duly noted.
Speaking of humor,
Okay.
I was thinking about this the other day. Are there, because you seem for a girl to have a really good sense of humor.
Now, I am not by any way sexist. I just happen to know that on average, at least according to my personal experience, there is a difference between guys' humor and female humor. And that's nothing to say that anything is right or wrong. I just have really enjoyed my friend Forrest's sense of humor. That's all I'm trying to say here.
Okay. Is there any type of joke that you really don't find funny?
That's a really good question.
I know, that's why I asked it. It's my job to ask really good questions.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Because that is a joke I don't find funny.
That's not a joke, Forrest.
Oh, okay.
So rude.
I'm sorry.
You're lucky you brought me White Claw.
Yeah.
You can be rude to me if you bring me drinks.
Fair enough. But I'm pretty sure you like it anyway.
Everybody likes a little back and forth.
I don't like poop jokes, but I guess if they're done right. Like, you could do like a bird poop joke, that's always funny. Dog poop jokes, those are funny too. like people poop jokes gross. But it's also like, no,
What about-
they can make those funny in weird ways.
I've definitely heard some that were really funny. Like the one where the guy is at his friend's house, but his girlfriend is in the bathroom, and so he really needs to, to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is they can make those funny in weird ways.
And so he
I already see
goes
this is
in
gonna
the
be funny.
plant and then blames it on the dog.
Yeah, I already saw that coming from like a mile away.
Yeah.
And then she's like, how'd my dog get to the plate? You might as well have just shat on the kitchen floor.
Mhm.
I would have
Well,
believed that.
no. So here's the best part. He leaves, and then his friend calls him up the next day. He's like, "Hey, so did you?" And he's like, "No. The dog did it." He's like, "Really? Because it didn't look like dog poop."
Ew.
It
Yeah,
had that smell.
For sure. Oh, that's been delivered well, for sure. I can't really think of anything that I wouldn't find necessarily funny if it's done right.
Okay, good. I think the only line for me is you can definitely tell when it's a joke
Mm-hmm.
and when it's actually it's supposed to be funny, but it's also somewhat serious.
Exactly. Actually, I
Right?
do know one I do not find funny. And see, it's really hard for me to be offended.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part in why I have such a foul opinion of Pete Davidson.
Okay. See, I can kind of agree with that because
He's not funny.
it's one of those things that you look
He's
at and you're
pathetic. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that's fine. So anytime the joke is making fun of is sexism or racism or anything like that, right? It's supposed to be satire. You're taking
Yes.
things to such an extreme. I'm being so racist
Mm-hmm.
that it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you're like, hey, do they mean that?
Exactly. There's nothing funny about what he says.
You're like, huh, this sounds serious. This person is actually being racist. This person is actually being sexist. Excuse me. They actually believe what they're saying in a mean-spirited way. That's when the joke kind of loses its taste for me.
So Tiffany Haddish actually had some really good points when she was talking about when she was coming up learning comedy. She was talking about how she used to use the mic to vent out just the struggle, and that someone gave her feedback saying no one wants to hear the struggle. And that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But also, no one wants to hear your depressive state. That's why you can't do certain jokes. As much as you want to talk about your childhood abuse and whatnot, you can't sit there and talk about how, your parents isolated you and every time you tried to escape, they did this, that, or this, that, or this. You have to have a right scenario.
Right. It's too real, right? It hits home for
Exactly.
too many people.
I had someone actually, so I was talking about how I was trying to turn my, I was talking to my partner about how I am developing comedy and how it was when my dad gave me permission to make jokes about him abusing us as children, all of my creativity opened up.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I don't understand how you can joke about abuse as a child. And I'm like, well, it's gotta be finessed. It has to be done right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, tell me about your life, and I'll show you how it can become funny. So she's telling me this, she's telling me that, she's telling me this, she's telling me that. And I'm like, that's not gonna be funny. That's not gonna be funny. That's not gonna be funny. And these are the things that you tell your therapist, and that's why. And then she's like, well, there was that time where my sister had gotten suspended from school, and I just graduated from high school. So my parents, they were like, we really got to do something with this girl. And so they left a note. They packed up and left a note at home for me that I had to watch the dog because they took my sister on a cruise.
So the one who gets suspended gets to go on a cruise, and the good child
Who graduated from
who graduated from high school has to stay and watch the dog.
Exactly. And so I
That's
start
awful.
laughing because I'm like, those
That's
are the
funny.
stories you can make funny. So you come out to your audience and that's how you just open up. You go, hey, have you ever gone on a cruise?
And-
Have you ever gone on a cruise? I haven't, but my family has. And now you go into your thingamabobster.
And you know what's funny about that is it's so extreme
Mhm.
that very few people, if anybody, has that experience.
Exactly.
Right? And it is something that happened that probably made you feel really crummy, but it's also light enough that it's not going to take everybody to a dark place.
So here's how I taught her to skew it. I was like, so this is what you do with it. You come out to the audience and you're like, so have you gone on a cruise? Have you gone on a cruise? Oh, you gone on a cruise? Oh, yeah? Was it nice? Oh, yeah, I bet. See, I haven't gone on a cruise, but my family has. See, I don't know what's wrong with my parents. They like to sit there and they like to say how they want their children to behave and they want us all to go ahead about our lives and be successful. So I try to abide by their wishes, and I do that, and I graduate from high school. But when my sister gets suspended and I come home to a note and they say, we've gone on a cruise, I'm like, what the fuck? And they didn't take the dog? That's how you got it. And she's like, oh my God, that's so funny. That's so true. I'm like, yes, because you'd expect that they would take you. But saying that we've gone on the cruise, stay home, you have to watch the dog. And then highlighting, you're like, they didn't take, and just as the take, they think you're going to say me. But when you say they didn't take the dog, that's your punchline. And she goes, oh my gosh, okay, that's going to be what I'll try to do, blah, blah. So she's thinking about doing stand-up comedy too. So I'm like, but you just have to make sure that what you're doing is you're setting up the truth, you set up your story, you set up your bit, and then you just have to subvert their expectations. Because obviously you want to go on the cruise, but they're making you watch the dog, so they didn't take the dog.
See, I love that your friend is thinking about doing comedy too. Comedy is something that everyone should try to do at least once in their life, because it's when it's done well and everybody's laughing with you, it's really fun.
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
for sure.
fun.
I agree. I think it's like music.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that everyone can, relate to. Because laughter is amazing, right? It's like a sneeze. You actually can't control laughter.
True story.
And there's also a huge difference between laughing at a movie or something that's recorded and laughing in person. Because when you have other people laughing, there's actually a biological thing that happens to us as herd animals where we want to laugh too. Mm-hmm. Somebody else laughs and it's
like
contagious. It is. So somebody laughing makes it easier for the other people to laugh, which is why it's so important in comedy to have people who are good openers.
That makes sense. So, fun fact, I think it's Japan. I'm pretty positive it's Japan because they always have the weird shit.
The Japansies.
So depression is an issue there. So, and they have such an intense work ethic.
And depression is so prevalent there, but it's really highlighted because suicide is such a huge part of their culture for such a long period of time that it's hard to break that.
Yeah, it still
right?
is.
People still, fall on their swords and commit seppuku.
But to combat that manic depressive state that's common within the culture is they have laugh rooms.
Laugh rooms. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling down, you just go to a laugh room.
You go to a laugh room. And so
is that different than a comedy club?
It is. The laugh room is specifically a room that you go into and you just laugh. So you go into the laugh room and you just go like this. You enter the laugh room and you go, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, hang on. So there's nothing in the room making you laugh. You're looking at me now because of my face. See, now she's really laughing.
That's the way it works. It's true. Do it. It's a scientific fact. When you start doing that, you are then compelled to go into a natural laughter.
So, have you seen the inside of these rooms?
No.
Or is it like?
But I'm pretty sure they're empty rooms.
Filled with clown mirrors.
I'm pretty sure it's just an empty room with hardcore acoustics.
Okay. See, what they should do is have jokes written all over the walls.
You were trying to hold back a laugh, though. I could see it. You were literally just trying to prove a point.
You got me smiling.
Exactly,
for sure.
And if it kept going, you would have started laughing too.
Right, because
I can do it again.
fun.
We can make this an experiment. You can fight as much as you want. It's just like that one song. If you chance to see a frown, do not let it stay. Quickly turn it upside down and smile that frown away. Singing that over and over and over and over again forces people to smile. They cannot help it.
I have never heard that song in my life. The one that I think of is Annie.
Okay, no, put a frown on. Put a frown on. Put an actual frown on. Actually frown.
Hang on. I gotta get all serious now.
Okay.
Mama.
If you chance to see a frown, do not let it stay. Quickly turn it upside down and smile that frown away. If you chance to see a frown, do not let it stay.
I'm such a bad example because I can't not smile and laugh with people.
It's just scientific facts, man.
I'm just a cheerful person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that what everyone should say as soon as they start smiling? I didn't really want to be upset. I'm just a cheerful.
I am. It's so easy to make me laugh and smile. It's yes, it's just fun. It feels better to smile than to frown.
It does. It actually does. But it takes more muscles.
Takes
Oh, wait,
more muscles
no,
to
wait, I think
frown.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Never mind, I was
you're
wrong.
welcome. It's harder to frown than
Which
smile.
is a weird sentence for a woman to say. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. For the feminists out there.
I
am a
frown.
feminist.
I frown at least 100 times a day because I want to work out the muscles in my face.
I am such a feminist, I'm an environmentalist. Meaning I don't wear makeup, so I do not pollute the ocean with micro particles of glitter. I'm a feminist that is also an environmentalist.
And I'm such a conservative that I believe in conservation.
I thought you were going to say threw up in your mouth a little.
Of course not. That's something that people don't think of, though, is conservative is conservation at its core.
Okay.
Like everybody thinks conservation as far as hippies go, right? But it is, and that's something that the GOP was originally built on, was conservation, keeping our forests, keeping, our public lands.
Do you think Dave Chappelle is allowed to smoke on stage because he's Dave Chappelle, or do you think that can be like your shtick?
So I think that I think
I had a
that
hard segue, sorry.
no, it's fine. So Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle, right? There's a name that carries weight. He can do whatever he wants.
I know, I want to
right?
smoke on stage so bad.
But here's the deal. Once you do it and the fans like it and they get to know you, that's what you're going to do for the rest of the time. That's the Machine, right?
Uh-huh.
You know who the Machine is?
No.
He's got really funny guy, went to Russia, accidentally joined the mafia. They called him the
That's
Machine.
hilarious, okay.
Super funny guy.
Accidentally.
So, he was opening, and this is before he got super famous, but he was really hot and drunk as he was going on stage, and so he took off his shirt. And the crowd,
that's why he has to have no shirt on
and
all
the
time?
crowd loved it. They clapped, they cheered, and now if he goes on stage, if he goes on stage wearing a shirt, the entire crowd starts chanting, "Take it off, take it," and they will not shut up until he takes off his shirt. He has to take off his shirt every single time. But that's part of why.
That guy accidentally joined the mafia?
Oh my gosh, yes, such a funny story.
He's so gross.
Such a funny story.
I'm sorry, that's so mean. Like,
Well, but that's part of his.
not what I was. He's like a honky.
That's part of his.
Thinking.
That's part of his look, though, right? He's got that like big bear look.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Okay,
kind of part of his.
I just wanted to imagine a honky in the freaking mafia. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it was the Russian mob.
So
So he went to Russia.
He's
Well,
still honking at them people out
now,
there.
This was also in college,
Okay.
right? During the 1990s when the mafia ran everything.
Okay, sure.
So who knows what he looked like in college? I haven't seen a picture of what he looks
For
like
sure.
in
And
college.
he might have not even had an accent like that anyway.
But here's the cool part, right? The reason he got famous was that story, and the reason the story blew up
Okay.
is because he told that story.
Is it true?
Put it on Facebook,
Uh-huh.
and one of his classmates said, "I can attest that this is 100% true," shared it, and then tagged every single other person who was in that school trip.
That's funny.
And then they all shared it, and suddenly you had, whoa, we know that this is true because all these people are corroborating the story.
Yeah.
And that's why he blew up and got famous.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Which is also why he has to tell that story at the end of every single one of his sets now.
Oh, I haven't heard that story, so I don't... Or
Well-
maybe I'm thinking of a different person than you. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the only person that takes their shirt off. Or doesn't have a shirt on, I should say.
Let me Google
He's pretty funny.
the
He has two
photo.
daughters?
Yes, he has 2 daughters.
Yeah, we're thinking of the same person.
the stories of his daughters are super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate him because that's kind of what daughters do to men, is that they kind of turn them into feminists in weird ways.
The Machine, Bert Kirshner. And look, Bert Kreischer. And if you Google him, the first thing that pops up is the YouTube story of the Machine when he joined
Okay.
the mafia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that later.
Definitely
Because I watched
worth
his
your
stand-up
time.
recently and he didn't have a story in it.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things that it's been told so many times now that they don't put it, they don't leave it
Probably
into
cut
every.
it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. He actually has a. He's been on a lot of podcasts, and on one of the podcasts that he was on, I think it was with Joe Rogan. He said that he was kind of sick and tired of having to retell the same story every single time.
Yeah.
You know.
That's been what part of my dilemma of trying to figure out this. Like, I was really proud of myself when I finally figured out this is how to do a set. But My dilemma with it was that I'm watching the people that I truly admire, which are people like George Carlin and Dave Chappelle, and what's that person's name? Well, Ali Wong is a really good one too, but there's a comedian, Tig. These people, they do like stories with bits in them, and then they continue a story, and somehow or another they tie back in that bit that they started with.
Yes.
So, and that's how they subvert your expectations, is because you're like, I completely even forgot about that. But I mean, obviously you can't do that unless in a 5-minute set, but if you can figure out that formula and then extend it, then you're good. But figuring it out has been my biggest struggle, because I have so many true stories. The true story itself is fucking funny. However, it's like, where's the punches there?
Right.
Exactly.
So there's a reason that the stories work really well, and that's because they're unique to you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you
It's
just
supposed to
tell
be the weaker form of comedy.
But here's the problem with telling normal jokes now. Every single joke has been done in one form or another. It's really hard to go back. Like, you can look at Amy Schumer's stuff, right? And she does some jokes. But then you're like, oh, she just... I mean, maybe she thought of it all herself. However, the same joke was done 20, 30 years ago in a different format.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'd also disagree, I would say, with that storytelling comedy is the lesser form of comedy.
Okay.
The reason for that is because there's only so many segments for comedy. Segment's not the right word. Categories to pull from for comedy. And they're usually always of a subjected, persecuted class or character of persons or blah, blah, blah.
Second White Claw, mango. The black cherry was pretty good, though.
Did you try the ruby last time?
The grapefruit? Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to give you options.
No, grapefruit is fine, but I like the mango.
Yeah, it's pretty reliable.
I like.
So that being said, the reason why comedy has become what it is because you have those people from those categories or demographics of disadvantage coming out and telling their own narrative rather than people joking about them. And I think that's probably part in why jokes are phasing out, is because it used to be the outsider observing and then making an observation at the expense of the observer or of the object being observed.
Sure.
Or subject being observed.
Sure. I'm not a tranny, but I make fun of trannies.
Because they're different from me.
Because they're different. Yep.
Versus I'm the different, and here's how you think I'm different. Let me show you how that's wrong. And this is really what's different, and that's actually really funny. And so that's why I think the story is starting to become superior to the joke, because we're less interested in people observing a narrative and we're more interested in their narrative.
So I also think that as a comedian, it's a lot safer. You're not going to get canceled
about telling your own story.
If you make fun of yourself or tell your own story. Like, I'm a Jew, so I can make fun of Jews. I can say, you know why my nostrils are so big? Because the air is free.
Yeah, that's funny. I used to always make fun of my dad's egg-shaped head.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yes.
So you're making fun of your own family.
This is how we know you're Jewish. You look exactly like Adam Sandler. And then my sister did her 23andMe, and I was like, see, I told you so. You guys are basically brothers. More like cousins. Just kidding.
More like cousins.
Yeah.
As long as it's second or third cousin, you're fine. You're in the clear.
You know. No offense, Adam Sandler, but you do have an egg-shaped head. Like these people are listening to me.
Like these people are listening.
And then I get a personal letter in the mail.
Right.
Like, how did you know where I lived? Well, it's Adam Sandler. He knows everything.
He's got some pretty funny stuff. I really enjoy his every Hanukkah. I have to play his Hanukkah song.
Okay, that is okay. So I'll agree. It's just he doesn't have a large girth of funny stuff. It's like cherry picking stuff. It's timely.
Oh my gosh, it isn't ever timely. I can go back and watch Waterboy any day of the week, and it's still funny.
But you can't necessarily watch Little Nicky.
No, but I can watch Tony Maguire.
Okay, yeah. So that's why I say you like cherry pick. You know what I mean? Not all of it is great.
Sure, but I'd say half of his stuff is good. And I loved his comedy and his songs, his song comedy, before he had to get more PC. Like you watch a lot of his movies now, and it's PC because he's appealing to the family.
You know, I really do wish that they would allow for more assholes out there, because those are the people that you can riff off and make true comedy with.
Those are the people that can't canceled.
For sure, but like...
They're an asshole, so they're not good for society. He's making fun of fat women. He's making fat jokes.
Retard. You know what I mean? Speaking of retard, okay.
Yeah.
So I got really frustrated as I'm watching the controversial subject of, what's that person?
Joe Rogan?
No.
Because he got in trouble for saying the N-word.
You know, and I don't even care. I really wish someone would take that episode of South Park with Randy.
that N guy.
Are you really afraid of quoting South Park?
No, I'm posting this on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like racial slurs.
But your daughter
I'm not allowed to put
over it. Whoa.
Yeah, but that's editing work. I don't want to have to go. You don't understand. So we're into the 1300s right now, right? Which means that we've been recording for over an hour.
Jeez Louise.
You know how
that is good. At least only in the last 15 minutes of us talking about comedy is what's worth using.
So it's one of those things that you have to, well, it's all B-roll footage after, it's all usable at some point.
Oh, okay, sure.
B-roll footage for the people who are the extreme fans.
No, I agree. B-roll is always valuable, and you can always rework it into fun ways. You can turn this into a fucking song if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But going through and actually having to bleep out every single one takes so long.
Where it's at. You have to do a giant clap.
Well, but I can't even, because you're laughing.
Shut up. I'm fine.
No. So this is a clap, right? See how it goes all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom?
So right before I say that angry guy.
Your laughter.
There you go.
Your laughter does the exact same thing. See, you just laughed, and see your laughter peaked out too.
Shut up.
It's true. It sounds fine because I've got compression and gating.
Ears. You're welcome.
Oh, yes, because your voice is so angelic.
Soothing. Yes, angelic. I like that word better.
So are we going to get to actually listen to your routine?
My bit?
Your bit?
Are we going to get to a dress rehearsal?
Yeah, this is your dress rehearsal right here.
Do you have an actual microphone that I can hold in my hand?
You can hold this one in your hand.
What one in my hand?
This one? I can take it. I can take it off the stand if you want.
I'm gonna go pee real fast.
Okay, I will pause.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to present to you the fabulous Forrest as she gives us her take on comedy.
How's that feel in your hand?
Wow. This is the first time this has been in my hand. I feel like a virgin holding a dick for the first time. Oh my god, this is so smooth and heavy and yet solid and firm.
Let me just cross my legs real quick.
I didn't think I'd end up being this excited the first time I came on stage.
It took me a second.
I'm that's when you wink to the audience. Okay, so we've all done stupid shit, right? So for me, I played with a Ouija board for the first time. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, a dumb fucking white bitch. And you are completely correct. So it was me and my friend Buddy. And me and my friend Buddy. Sure, we can call him that. I'm not saying that Ouija boards work. What I'm saying is this is my personal experience. So just take it for what it is. Okay. So me and my buddy, we decided, hey, let's try, playing with a Ouija board. But we didn't have one. So we made one for ourselves. And having grown up with my father, shout out to the Modern Alchemist channel, having grown up with my father, I am actually well educated to the occult. So I was like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. So I was like, here's the mirror. Here's the board. We made it together. Where's the red candle? Okay, let's light it. And I went ahead and I opened the mirror. Yes, you heard me correctly. My dumb ass opened the fucking mirror. So I opened the mirror. And we start doing our whole Ouija board shit. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. And nothing happened. And I'm like, okay, nothing happened, but let's try it again. And we tried it and nothing happened. But we didn't have a witness there other than my blind dog. So I don't really know if that counts for a witness, but if it does, he was our witness. But he couldn't exactly write down what was happening with the Ouija board. So I was like, okay, we gave this a go. We gave that a go. We'll try one last time. But if it doesn't work, we're just going to throw it out, okay? So we close our eyes and we start messing around with the Ouija board. And all of a sudden, I don't know what the fuck happened.
This is a very fucking true story. I genuinely do not know what the fuck happened. I'm like still embarrassed to this day and trying to figure this shit out. We're fucking around with the Ouija board. I don't know if this motherfucker was like moving his hand or not or whatever, but somehow or another it ended up in the right location, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I like saw it in my freaking prefrontal cortex, 2 eyeballs and a mouth. That's it. That is it. And I hear, hi. Just like that. So naturally, my response is to be like, as loud as fucking possible. I'm not kidding you. I heard it echo through the apartment complex. I don't know how it didn't wake up my roommate. I could still hear him snoring in the next room. But it literally echoed through the apartment complex. And I panicked and I knocked over the red candle. And now I'm covered in all this red wax, which looks like blood. So I go from screaming and then he starts screaming. And now we're both fucking screaming together. And we can hear it echoing through the apartment complex. So that was me messing with the Ouija board. To which I started thinking to myself, what if we have Ouija boards wrong? What if we're not actually like calling the afterlife, but like just another life? And so it's like no different than like someone walking past a payphone and it's just like ringing. And I'm like, that fucking phone is ringing. Maybe I should answer it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to answer it. And it stops. And they're like, wait, it starts ringing again. So they come to answer it and it stops. And then it starts ringing one more time. It's the third time it rings. They know they're going to answer it. They pick it up and they're just like, hi. And then all they hear is, ah! On the other end, because that is me, scared as fuck to hear someone pick up a fucking phone. To which I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I remember back in the day when we all had landlines, we would hear the fucking phone ring. And it would echo through the house. Am I right? Am I right? It'd echo through the house. And then all of a sudden you hear another echo and it'd go, phone! Which really meant I'm not answering the phone. And then you hear another phone. And now you start counting them. Okay, well, I said phone and they said phone. Okay, phone! Ring, 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 ring. Okay, that's 3 now. There's only 5 of us. Phone! Ring, ring, ring. Okay, the phone is going to pick up on an answering machine soon. Phone! God damn it, the cycle's back to me. Okay. Hi. Ah! The fuck? Yes, okay, so that's my time. And if you have a landline, make sure not to answer it because it might be another person on a Ouija board screaming at you. Thank you so much for having me. I love you all. Goodbye.
That was really good.
Was it?
That was great.
Other people are gonna laugh. I thought that was really funny.
Otherwise, I'm gonna look at people and be like, okay, well, y'all need to go home and play with the Ouija board then if you don't get what I'm trying to tell you.
No, I thought that was really good. So, fun fact.
It's a true story. I genuinely heard, and I screamed. I screamed so loud. I could not keep my poop in my pants.
I believe it. Ouija boards are scary.
They are.
Ouija
Don't
boards
fuck with
are scary.
them. Not fuck with them.
So what's interesting is Ouija boards actually. So do you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh? The card game or
I know about
the
it.
series?
But...
Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh is the story of a card game, right? Mm-hmm. That was outlawed because it brought in demons, or it contacted demons, and then it came back thousands of years later as a child's toy.
That's funny. Okay.
That is the exact storyline of Ouija boards.
Yeah, okay.
Ouija boards were outlawed because why would you try to contact demons?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden they come back into society as children's play toys.
Right. Which is all the more reason why it would be hilarious to just imagine it that it's not contacting demons and it's not contacting the afterlife, but it's just contacting another parallel existence.
Right.
So they're just literally picking up a telephone and someone is screaming at them. That would be absolutely horrific.
It's not actually a demon, it's your grandma who's been waiting for your phone call this whole time.
You're just, what the fuck was that about?
You should actually be talking to grandma and like trying to tell her how your life's going.
Communicate, with words. Not primal screaming.
So you've got a couple jokes that's the one you're gonna go with though when you do your. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so relatable to everybody.
I think so. I think because it's relatable and it's like non-confrontational.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to be like, I didn't like that about it.
Right.
You know, it's wholesome.
It is wholesome. It's wholesome in the non-Christian, I'm playing with demons kind of way.
I mean, like, yeah, sure, but they also might sit there and think, I wonder what it might be like if I play with a Ouija board. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want them to do that.
No.
I really hope they don't.
Right?
But just because, like, honestly, I've never actually genuinely been more scared in my life. Like, that was probably one of the most weird, like, I still am like, I cannot figure that experience out. Like, I still am just like, am I that much of a crazy person? Or was did I want that? Did I, like, hallucinating is a whole different realm of experience. I've done it on shrooms before. But not when I'm sober and playing with a toy. You know what I mean? So, it was weird.
Shrooms are one of those things that you're like, it's either fun or scary. And you know what? It has never been good for me? Trees.
Oh my god, that's so weird because it's the opposite for me.
Really, trees are terrifying.
They talk to you.
Oh my gosh. My trees are like, you've seen the Ents in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, only trees, they only talk to you when you're on shrooms.
Oh my gosh.
That's a universal experience I've heard.
These drugs are making these trees come to life and like come at me. And I'm like running in my room and trying to lock the door. Because these giant Lord of the Rings Ents are like stomping their way towards me with these giant branches. They're
maybe that's because you're
reaching out to grab me.
Because all the women I've talked to, they're like, the trees are talking to me. They're coming at me, man. I'm just like, what up, homie? That's how it's going. Yeah. And I'm one of them. Like, I remember my very first epiphany. Like, my actual Nirvana awakening was when I was 17, and I had way too many shrooms. That's fucking for sure. I had what is it? Is it 2-pound bags? Is it the Ziploc?
I have no idea. I don't know a lot about drugs. I just do them when people hand them to me.
No, the Ziploc bags that are this big. The freezer bags that are this big.
They come in sandwich sizes or whatever.
But I'm actually talking about an actual Ziploc bag.
I know Ziploc bags come in different, that big. Yeah, probably the 2-gallon.
Okay, so it was filled almost, so it was probably 1.5 gallons of shrooms is what I had.
Wow.
Yes, and it was just given to me for free.
That's
a wonderful human being.
A wonderful human being, or somebody who really wants to mess you up.
No, he just loved me. I love that guy too. Anyway, actually, it's part in why I took an interest in ASL was that person.
Okay.
I took care of their kid who was deaf. Anyway, so they give me this giant bag of shrooms. They're like, you can just have it. And I was like, what the fuck? Thanks, man. And, several months later, my brother-in-law, my now brother-in-law, comes to me. We were way young then. I was like 17, he was like 19, maybe 18. Comes to me and is like, it's my birthday. I'm like, I know it's your fucking birthday because it's a surprise party for my sister and it's her fucking birthday. And they're like, in near time. And he's like, you got any pills? And I was like, I don't fucking do pills, man. What are you fucking talking about? And then I opened up my underwear drawer and I pulled out this bag of shrooms. And then I was like, what? But I got this big bag of shrooms. And he's like, oh, cool. And I was like, yeah, take some. And so he took a small handful and I took a small handful. And then for whatever reason, I was like, I'm going to go out to the party.
No.
Of 30 fucking people.
Right.
And I was like, you take some drugs. And I took his pinch. So I took a pinch. You take some drugs. They took a pinch. So I took a pinch. I went around to everyone and let everyone take a pinch. And when they took a pinch, I took a pinch. And I ate with them. So I ate half that bag of fucking shrooms. I shit you not. I was awake till 7 o'clock in the morning. Tripping on shrooms. And I was so fucking high on those shrooms that my outfit, so I go outside. I'd been drinking Monster and Tarantula. And so I'd taken...
What is Tarantula?
It's tequila.
Oh, okay.
So
I know tequila.
You get a green Monster and blue Tarantula. And you drink them together.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, it's so good. Like, man, we can party now.
I love
animal.
Monster.
That is fucking for sure. I'm a party animal, and I'm like the life of a party.
And yet you didn't show up to my birthday party.
I had homework. And
I'm sure you did.
You have heard these cunts, right? Anyway, so they're incompetent. They really are. They don't know how to do math. They don't know how long these things take. I don't know. We went from a cohort of 25 to 9. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
It reflects the teaching rather than the students, but what the fuck ever. Moving on to the story. So I go around. It's not a joke, it's a story.
The joke and the story are the same thing.
Yeah, I'm the joke. But I'm also a great story. Anyway, so I go to the whole party. I'm like, take all this shit. And I drink another shot of Tarantula and Monster, thinking that was going to be the top off, but I immediately throw it up. I'm like, that was a bad idea. I've got too much shrooms in my stomach. And so I'm just tripping on the shrooms from there on out. And I go outside, and we have this giant cedar at the time. And so I go up to the cedar, and I'm just like chatting with cedar, but we also had like 5 acres of just trees. And the wind is blowing like hardcore, and so too is the rain, so it's like slapping me in the face, but the wind is like in front of me. So I'm like watching all these trees like in unison just kind of dance together. And I realized, oh my God, I am one with you. And
are you dancing with the trees?
I thought it was an original thought, and I still think it's an original thought, but it wasn't until I told my choir teacher that he's like, oh, that's a song lyric. And I'm like, no, mine is different.
All I'm picturing right now is you out there with your arms up in the air, and you're like floating with the trees.
Like one of those
left
car
and
balloons.
Right. Yes.
We got a sail over here. Come on over.
One of those, yeah, those big inflatable
Yes.
balloon people that you see at the car
Yes.
car rentals.
So
Used car lot.
I'm sitting here and I'm observing the trees, and they're just. And I go, oh my God, it is me. And I am it. And we together.
You sound like such an evergreener.
And I told my choir teacher that, and he goes, those are lyrics. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I am the walrus, it is me, or they are me, and I am them, and we are we together. And I was like, that's different than mine, because that's they and them, and it is mine. It is me, and I am it, and we are we together. Meaning, sir. And so I had to correct my teacher.
Which goes back to my point that pretty much everything's been done before.
Sure. But I was like, meaning, sir, if you were to take an electron from this table, an electron from my nail, and an electron from your hair, you put them all under the same microscope, you will not be able to tell which electron came from which, meaning they are indistinguishable from one another, sir. So it is me, and I am it, and we are we together, sir. It is not them and they and thee. It is me and it. It is me and it. We are we. And he's like, okay, okay, sure, Forrest.
You got really into this.
Sure, it's an original idea. Sure, you can have it. I was like, fuck the Beatles. It's my idea. So, yeah, that's that. So I sat there and I talked to the trees, and I was so fucking high because it was storming rain that my feet were so soaked in my chucks. And I still have these chucks to this day because of this experience. So I went and took a shower. When I got out of the shower, I put dry clothes on. But something in my soul said I need to put those sopping wet chucks back on my feet because this is my journey. And I started it in those shoes, and I need to end it in those shoes. So everything on my body was dry, including my socks, and then I put these sopping wet chucks back on. And I'm like,
what
this is my
earth?
journey. I wore those sopping wet chucks till 7 in the morning.
If there's any part of this story that says don't do drugs, it's that right there. Re-wetting your perfectly good dry feet. Just
this is the answer.
breaks
I
all
will connect
comprehension.
with all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. I definitely regretted it when I woke up and was like, why are my feet so old and wrinkly?
They've been marinating for over 24 hours.
In these sopping wet chucks. Yeah, and they weren't the kind of chucks that you like tie up. They were the kind of chucks that are like booties, and there were buttons on the side. So I like slid my foot in and then I snap, 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 snap. So they were dope as fuck looking, which is part of also why I probably put them back on my feet.
Yeah, it's all about fashion.
Yeah.
Fashion is pain.
Who cares if they're wet?
Beauty is pain.
Who cares if they're literally soaked to the brim? I'm gonna put them back on my feet. Yeah,
I'm gonna put them back on my feet.
Yes, I do not recommend shrooms, although I will be doing them again soon, and I have some of them.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. You don't recommend them, but you're going to do them again. So do as I say, not as I do, huh?
For sure. Especially since, like, pretty much every one of my shroom trips has been pretty dope like that. The only one that I was like, oh, that was a little bit of a rough ride, is when I did shrooms by myself. And I was working, how to put this in a very delicate way. I was doing martial arts at the time.
Okay.
And I got off the clock and I ate some shrooms and then I did some more martial arts and kicked around the bags a bit before leaving the dojang.
You trained on drugs.
I did. And so I kicked around the bags a little bit, I did some training, and and then I meditated, and then I left the dojang and I locked it up. And I went to the bar on my way home because I was riding my bicycle, and I drank a bunch. And then I got on my bicycle and I rode all the way home, and I was living on a boat at the time.
I can ride a bike with no handlebars.
Definitely used my handlebars. It was a little bit difficult to ride that bike, but it was a lot of fun. And I started feeling like I was in a video game, where I started, like, every person I started talking to felt like an NPC that had a quest for me or some kind or another.
Mm-hmm.
So not a great experience because I ended up getting a stalker out of it. But long story short, no, not going to tell that one. But I did cry a lot. I cried a lot with my feet in the water. But like, why is the world so damaged? Which is not great.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That last White Claw was really good. Let me tell you.
The mango? Yeah.
That mango.
The mango is my favorite.
The mango, so good. So,
bomb.com. Yeah, I highly
bomb.com.
recommend it. But it's always nice to, like, try a different flavor every once in a while. But
Yeah.
the mango is pretty reliable. It's a staple.
Right? No, it's so funny talking about the drugs, and
Do you want to do shrooms?
not right now.
Well, I mean, I don't have them on my persons. As well as I do need to go home and let my dog out and finish my homework.
We'll talk later. So funny. So the first time I had done pot before,
Mhm.
right? But I had smoked it. Okay. And it was okay. It was fine, but it didn't really. I personally, I've always had a high constitution. Like, it always just takes a little bit more to hit me.
Okay.
And that might have to do with that I'm a 210-pound guy.
Sure.
6 foot. Like, I'm not a small dude.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so this friend brought brownies over to my party and was like, these are weed brownies. Do you want to try some? I was like, yeah, totally. And so he starts talking to this girl who he's trying to, like,
Uh-huh.
and so I take one of the brownies and I eat it. And he turns around afterwards. He's like, wait a second. Did you eat that whole brownie? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that was meant for, like, 4 people.
That's funny.
And I'm in my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't you cut them into fourths then?
That's
like, why are they full brownies then? Why not cut them?
Just nibble as they go.
Why not cut them into the sizes that they're supposed to be?
They nibble as they go.
They nibble as they go. Okay, well, this is a new experience for me, and when I see a brownie, I eat a brownie.
Okay, sure.
So I had never done this before, and so he was like, you should probably go sit down. And I'm so glad I did, because I was, like, dying. Now, if you've ever gone from, like, normal weed to edibles, it's a completely different high. It's not a head high like smoking is, it's a body high.
Yeah, it's the only way that you can actually OD.
Oh my gosh. And so I'm sitting on the bed with my arms spread out, and my entire body is, like, tingling.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just focusing on one thought, not dying. And as my entire body tingles, and I, like, can't stand it, and I don't even think I could stand up at that point. And then my buddy sits on my left, and a girl sits on my right. Pretty attractive girl, which was cool. But the feel of both of them, like, on my arms as I'm stretched out, lounging on the couch, like pins and needles.
Okay.
Absolute pins and needles. And, like, oh my gosh, I could not stand up. It was not a great experience for my first time taking edibles. Let's just put it that way.
I don't actually remember my first time taking edibles, but maybe this was my first time taking edibles, was when we made a shit ton of cookies, because we were growing a shit ton of plants at the time. We had already done our harvest. We had the extra material, so why not make butter? So we made cookies out of them. But what had happened to me is I ate a cookie and was like, that was pretty fucking good. So I ate another cookie and it was like, that was also fucking good. So I ate a third cookie and then I just passed out for 6 hours. Yeah, and then I woke up and was like, literally in a fog, like a hazy fog.
Mm-hmm.
And stumbled over and grabbed another cookie. And then passed back out for another 8 hours. And when I woke up the next day, I was like, well, that was a waste of a day. I'm pretty sure that's what fucking heroin addicts feel like. So I'm not really into eating them.
See, for me, when I ended... So, like I said, I had the attractive woman on my right?
Yeah.
They felt good.
Yeah.
So I did end up passing out after a couple hours. And I like fell out on the couch and whatever, and I did not wake up to the same attractive woman.
Yeah, I bet.
I woke up to a woman who was not great
Okay.
on top of me, and she was a little bigger, so it was like and I looked at her and I'm like,
are you raping me?
What?
I'm just kidding.
what happened? And she like full on smiles at me and says, don't worry, I kept you safe. And then gave me a kiss on the cheek.
Go back to sleep. I'm not done. I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry.
And so, ever since then, I'm a lot more careful with my dosage.
Because I'm afraid of getting raped. I'm just kidding.
I don't want to have to wake up to that stank.
See, rape jokes are always wonderful if you're talking about raping a man. Anyway.
Did you know that statistically speaking, this just came out
Most caused for rape.
in the year 2022, more men were raped than women.
Yeah, it's part of why I have a hard time dating younger men because I'm afraid of raping them.
Now, that being said, most of the
I
time,
keep saying I'm just kidding. I'm
men
sure
are the
they
one
love kidding.
raping. Men are the ones raping other men.
Most of the time.
But
In the butt. But
oh my gosh, how did we get on this tangent?
I don't know.
This is not the way I want my podcast to be.
Have you ever done spice?
I have not.
Oh my god, I don't recommend it. It's the worst in the fucking world.
Okay, so what is exactly spice?
So mind you, these are not recent experiences. I'm talking about shit that happened 10 years ago.
Sure. So am I.
Okay.
FYI.
I mean, we're all old now.
I just turned 30. I can't say I'm in my 20s anymore. I'm officially an old man.
I'm worried about that day. Anyhow.
I'm worried about that day.
It's coming soon.
It's comments like that that make me feel really old.
It's coming up. It is. So anyhow. So I'm like 17. And I'm with my sister. And she's like, let's smoke some spice. And I'm like, why not? And she's like,
Typical Mormon girl.
well, we gotta fill this bowl with weed first. We'll put spice on top. I was like, cool. And she's like, okay, you're gonna hit the spice and you're gonna hold your breath. I was like, dope, I got this. So I hit it and I hold my breath. And it's about a minute. And my sister's like, you gotta exhale. Because I felt like I could hold my breath forever. Literally, I was like, we good for at least 15 minutes. And then she's like, no. A minute later, you gotta exhale. That was my mistake. You do not exhale on spice because that's when it hits. So I exhale, and the moment that the air left my lungs, it was like pins and needle all over my body. And we were listening to music at the time, and I was like, you gotta turn the music off, because every single note was a new pin or needle all over my body. So I was like, you gotta turn the music off, and she finally turns the music off. And then I looked down, and I'm wearing my work uniform. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go to work! And then I start throwing up on myself.
On your uniform that you're supposed to be working in.
And then I piss myself. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm throwing up. And I peed myself. And I need to go to work. And my sister's like, calm down. You're fine. Just go with it. And I look at her, and she looks like a balding man who is sitting in a science lab. And I'm like, oh my god, you look like Dad right now. She's like, relax, you're almost done, just go with it. And then boom, it all cuts. I looked down. I did not pee myself. I was not covered in vomit. Oh, and lest we forget, in the middle of it all, when I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go to work right now, all of these painted hands showed up. And they were just grabbing me and carrying me up a log. Just random painted hands. Like that one commercial, that one car commercial of all the painted hands with the car. That's what it was for me. It was just... Or like Labyrinth. You've seen Labyrinth when she falls down and all those hands are carrying her?
Yeah.
That's what fucking happened to me, but they were all painted different colors. And they're just carrying me up a log, and then that's when I look down and I see that I'm in my work uniform, and I gotta go to work, and I vomit on myself, and I piss myself, and then I come out of it, there's no painted hands. I don't have to go to work. I didn't vomit on myself. I didn't piss myself. It was all a hallucination.
Wow.
Fuck spice. I will never do it again.
So what is actually... Do you know what drugs are actually in spice?
It's a combination of different herbs, like sage and stuff.
Okay.
So it's just like herbs that you can grow in your garden, that they dry out, they grind up, and then they mix it together. And it's just, I do not recommend it. I do not think you're supposed to smoke sage. I'm like, fuck that shit.
What's in spice?
Do not fucking smoke
A
it.
synthetic version of tetrahydrocannabinol, THC.
It's supposed to be a synthetic version of weed.
The psychotic ingredient in marijuana. K2 spice is a mixture of plant material sprayed with synthetic psychoactive chemicals. Interesting. I clearly don't know a lot about drugs.
You can buy it at any smoke shop.
This is the stuff that your sister gave you for your Rumspringa.
This is legal shit that military boys smoke in replacement of marijuana.
This is legal.
Mm-hmm. You can buy it at any smoke shop.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You're
If
telling
you
me
want
I
some
can go...
spice, I will go pick up some spice. I will bring it back. You can smoke it. It only lasts about a minute and a half.
Oh, that's such a quick high.
It is, but it feels like for fucking ever.
Really?
It does. That's
I
why I
wanna
haven't
try this
done it
now.
in like 12 years.
And it's not...
It stays with you too.
So wait a second. Is this...
You won't forget your experience.
So is this the same as smoking weed?
It is not.
Okay. So
in any
it
way,
is...
shape, or form.
So it is legal?
It is. And it is its own thing. And what scares me is after having gone through that, and like, granted, if you want to try it, I'll let you try it.
Okay.
But after having gone through that, I'll go buy it from the smoke shop. I'll bring it to you. We can try it. But after having gone through that, what concerns me is that this is what military boys are using as a supplement for marijuana. Marijuana does not do any of this shit to you. It will never do any of this shit to you. You've eaten it.
I've done a lot with marijuana. I've never hallucinated.
Exactly.
Because we're not living in the 70s or the 80s, back when it was spiked with everything, right? Back when they used to put stuff in it.
Is that why that would happen?
Yes. So
Because
like
I buy an ounce for $30 at the smoke shop.
no. So that's the difference, right? You're getting it from
And
a
I was
smoke
there-
shop.
no,
You're
no,
not getting
I
it
was
from
there-
a dealer.
No, yeah. So I
Yeah.
buy an ounce for $30 at the smoke shop, and I was there picking it up, and the guy in front of me was there for the same product. But he was about 70 years old.
Yeah.
And he was turning to the people behind me because they were giggling about him buying a $30 ounce. Because I'm like, oh my god, this guy doesn't even know how to buy weed. Oh my god. And he was like, look, this stuff is literally the exact same shit I smoked in 1970. I don't need to be fucking wrecked on your hyper-crystallized marijuana. I just need to smoke a joint and enjoy the rest of my night.
Yeah.
And I
So-
was like, I was just thinking that.
So you watch movies like Friday, right? Where they...
But you're telling me that shit was spliced.
That's why when you used to smoke weed, you would like hallucinate and have like... and they would like picture
So
that
they
in the
would
movies.
actually put coke with it and stuff.
You would actually have like other things in it
Probably pay more
that
for
would
that.
hit you. Well, you were buying street weed, right? That was illegal, so you were obviously paying more for it.
Okay, I see where your logic is. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, because I was telling my doctor that I smoke weed sometimes, and she started boasting and all that. Well, it might be laced, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, you know anything about
No.
weed?
And this is the deal, right? When you buy weed today,
My only regret
People
is I only
are-
bought 2 of them.
oh, the White Claws.
Yeah.
Well, next time.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, when you buy weed today, weed's legal here in Washington, so you're typically buying it from a grower,
Yeah.
And that's what they do for a living. They aren't going to put their business in jeopardy by lacing it with anything.
They're also not going to like throw in extra products without charging you more.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was really stupid. I really was like, okay, doctor, I need a new doctor.
Yeah. That's like your parents talking to you or the fear in school about what drugs can do.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to be like lacing Halloween drugs and whatever. That's expensive. Like people.
That is so fucking true.
It's expensive. Like I'm not going to be handing out Molly with these M&Ms.
Yeah, that's so true. And I did have a Molly that was like a gummy, and it sucked. It sucked so bad. It did not make me feel like I'm on Molly, but it did give me a headache.
So I've never done Molly. However, I was a bouncer at the Showbox, and there were a lot of different kinds of concerts that happen there. And one of them is raves. Right? We have small raves at the Showbox.
Yeah.
And there was this guy, worst injury I've ever seen there. So, you know how people have like the gloves that change different colors, and they like do them in front of people who've done drugs, and so that they see these weird colors moving around, and it's really cool.
Okay.
This guy was wearing gloves, and he was on drugs himself.
Okay.
So I'm watching this guy do his like hands in a circle drug thing, and he's looking, he's watching the colors, and he keeps going back farther and farther and higher and higher, and then suddenly his spine gets to this point where his spine doesn't go back any farther. And he slowly just tips over and his head cracks on the cement. He doesn't even try to catch himself. Suddenly I have to get out there,
probably didn't even feel it.
call EMTs. He's out cold and he's got brain juice. I don't know if you've ever seen brain juice. It's not normal blood. It's like a clear liquid seeping out of his head. Like it's supposed to be protecting his brain. And so I get everybody back, and we call the EMTs, and they put a bag over his head and try to get him breathing. And they took him over to the hospital. I hope he survived. But oh my gosh, watching this guy
He wasn't on Molly.
not even try to catch himself. Not even try. He was just all about the colors. He was on...
Yeah, he had to be on like ketamine or LSD or something like that.
Something.
It wasn't Molly.
It was something that made him focus only on the colors and not even think about his well-being.
Ecstasy.
That could have been.
I've taken half an ecstasy before, and it made colors very vivid.
Well, that's ecstasy is in Molly, right?
No, Molly is like...
Molly's methamphetamine with
Molly is what...
ecstasy.
Ecstasy is before it becomes ecstasy. Ecstasy. Anyway,
Ecstasy.
but it doesn't make colors more vivid and stuff like that. It definitely makes you like, I'm pumped and I'm really enjoying life. If anything, it like unlocks your secret vault.
Mm-hmm.
You just become a very friendly, open party animal. That's pretty much what it does. It doesn't like actually sensory change a lot. It's just your personality changes. Like it's like you come out of your shell.
Yeah, so MDMA is ecstasy with methamphetamine.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's methylene
But Molly
dioxide
isn't MDMA.
methamphetamine.
Molly is the MDMA. That's different. Molly is something different.
Okay.
It's a pure version of ecstasy.
So maybe I'm thinking of MDMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never done that one.
Okay.
But I have done Molly a few times. When I was younger, it was a lot more fun. Now it gives me headaches, and I do not like it at all.
See, for me, when I was younger...
It's just an upper.
For me, when I was younger, I was about Coke.
I've never done Coke.
I
I
loved...
won't ever do it.
I loved the feeling of I can conquer the world and like go and do whatever I wanted to.
Yeah, it definitely seems like more of a masculine drug for sure.
Oh my gosh. I did it and I immediately like started pumping iron or dancing or I just wanted to be active. I was doing things.
Actually, I might have done Coke one time, but only because I trusted the wrong person. They told me it was Molly. But I think it was Coke because I've snorted pills before.
Yeah.
But I've never snorted a pill that made me want to do push-ups.
That's Coke?
I swear to God I did Coke.
So here's the way to test
ordinarily
it.
speaking, I'm not sure. And I would never.
So the way to
Because
test
makes
it,
you ugly.
if it's Coke, the way to test it is you put a little bit on your finger, rub it on your gums, and if it's Coke, your gums will go numb.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't do that.
Well, just so you know for next
Stupid.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To start with that. And then I go,
Yeah.
wait the fuck a minute. I'm not doing this shit. This ain't no fucking Molly ground up. This ain't a Percocet. Take it back. Where's your perks? And I'm like, I don't got no perks. Aren't you feeling perky now? Sniff it.
Aren't you feeling perky now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have to pee, and then I should probably take off.
Okay. Well, Forrest, it has been so much fun.
As always.
As always.
I love you so much. Mwah!
Woo! Love
Okay.
that. That's a good way to end the podcast right there.
Like, comment, subscribe.